Hello there, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you. It is Monday afternoon, coming in at about 3 o'clock. Just wanted to give you a little update on the weather as we are all maybe enjoying some sunshine or at least seeing the impacts of a new day here without a winter storm in the Triad. We're kind of in the aftermath phase now. Obviously, we know what happened. We saw a good amount of sleet. Not that much freezing rain for our area, a little lower amounts and a lot lower on the freezing rain side than we were expecting, which honestly is a blessing. And we're really fortunate that that happened. I was really concerned last week that we could be in for a thick glaze enough to bring down trees and power lines, and that just didn't happen. What did happen, of course, we expected a storm, we got a storm. And now a lot of us are still kind of dealing with the neighborhood effects of the icy roads, and that'll continue. But a lot of the precipitation fell as sleet. And we talk about sleet being those little ice balls rather than the freezing rain, which coats everything in sight. So sleet is preferable. Sleet is what we received. We're fortunate, and we are very happy about that. But I tell you, just firsthand, I was definitely concerned with what we were seeing. And I knew more sleet was a possibility, but it was an equal possibility that that ice could be coating everything in sight. So I prepared as if I was going to be stuck for several days, just as you did. So we were in the same boat there. They sent the National Guard for a reason. Duke Energy sent all those crews for a reason. We're just thankful that we didn't get hit so badly. Unfortunately, places like Nashville, Tennessee, Mississippi, not so lucky. Those areas just got crippling ice amounts, and it was the same storm and very easily could have been us. And glad that it wasn't. Here's kind of what's going on right now on the radar across North and South Carolina, and honestly up and down the East Coast. You take a look here. This is over the last 24 hours, so it's over the last better part of a day. And we're kind of transitioning now. So we're going to be going away from seeing big impacts from precipitation, and we're going to start to focus instead on what are we looking at in terms of icy roads getting better? What are we looking at in terms of cold weather getting better? Because, it's been chilly. We're still cold right now. The temperature outside is basically at or below freezing. And with all the snow or the sleet on the ground, it can sometimes reflect so much that it feels a little bit warmer than it actually is. But the current temperature in Greensboro is 31. And the current temperature in Burlington's 35. And so it's not very warm. It's just not very warm outside. And we can kind of take a look at the area. Here's High Point right now. If this were an all snow event, a lot of that white covering that you see on top of the buildings, a lot of that would have melted already. And it's just not. So, just from experience, if this was all snow, that snow would have been gone by now in full sunshine all day. And it's just not. It's hanging around. Same thing in Winston-Salem. You might have some surface lots that have been plowed or cleared up, and certainly the main roads have been cleared up. But if you're not attending to it, you do still have a white coating of sleet on top of most surfaces. And that's something that we're going to have to talk about in more detail over the next couple of days, because I think a lot of you will be wondering, well, what's the deal? Why is this stuff not melting all that much? Same thing in Burlington. All of us are kind of in the same boat there. And it's important to remember, or maybe you didn't realize, because I'll tell you, it's not obvious, but one of the things that makes sleet so much different from snow is just not the same thing. Snowflakes are crystallized, and they are made up of little crystals, and they're very delicate. They actually have a lot of air to them. That's kind of the presence of a snowflake versus a sleet. Sleet is literally a ball of water that's been frozen into solid ice, and when you have solid ice in a pile, it's much harder to get rid of it. It is denser, and it is insulating, so whatever sleet is on the outside is exposed to the elements, but the ones that are inside are actually relatively unharmed by the sunshine. So snow is a lot more easier for the sun to pulverize. And if you have the same amount of water, the snow pile is a lot taller, but it goes away a lot more quickly. Sleet, it's less tall, but it takes forever to get rid of. So that's just something we're going to have to kind of be aware of and manage our expectations here over the next couple of days. We have warmed up a little bit, but basically throughout the day today, we've been hovering right around 30 degrees. And that's where we find ourselves right now. The problem is, for tonight, is that it will get very cold very quickly. So I'm actually expecting one of our coldest nights of the winter so far. And it will be the coldest night of the winter so far, I would expect. We'll be down into the low teens and upper single digits toward tomorrow morning. So this is just, the next 12 hours or so. But here's kind of a look at how cold we could actually get. And when we look at this map here, as I load it for you, you're going to see some really low numbers. So right around 9, 10 degrees, whatever the case may be, it's going to be cold. And I'm actually curious now. I've got to look up and see for our area, because we're no stranger to single-digit temperatures. They do happen. They're just not something that happens all the time. So for us, the last time we were in the single digits, we got to 11 in December. So that's pretty similar. We got to 11 in December of 2024 as well. But as far as single digit lows, the last time was Christmas Eve of 2022. So this could be our coldest night in a couple of years if we get down that low. If we get below 11 degrees, it'll be our coldest night in a couple of years. And you factor in some wind. There will be some wind out there. The wind chill will be a bit of a factor. So we are keeping our News 2 weather impact alert through tonight and into tomorrow. And the reason for that, you got to watch your step out there. You've got to avoid icy roads. All of those things are factors into tomorrow morning. So icy travel, still a concern. Icy sidewalks, a concern. You've got to watch your step, know your limits when driving. I know sometimes you got to get somewhere, but just know your limits and kind of respect the elements. But also when it comes to your home, tonight is one of those nights, and we don't have too many of them, but it is one of those nights where you want to kind of help those pipes if you can. Dripping the faucets a little bit, maybe leaving the cabinets open. Thankfully, we all have heat, I would hope. We all have power. That was my big concern ahead of time is, gosh, if we have all of these power outages and they're lasting for several days, and then we have temperatures like this, well, that's a huge problem, because then we're trying to heat our homes and we're definitely going to be more at risk for those frozen pipes. So not something we want to deal with. Wind has been a little gusty throughout the day today, a little gusty for sure. Now tomorrow morning, the wind will go away in the morning, but it will come back for the afternoon. So it will be a little breezy on your Tuesday, and even Wednesday should have a little bit of a breeze component to it. Looking ahead though, here are your feels like temperatures. So this is what we call the wind chill, or just more conversationally, it can be called a feels like, whatever you prefer. Overnight tonight, when you factor in the cold out there, it will feel like around 0. Or even below 0. So those wind chills for tomorrow morning, yeah, they're serious business. And so you want to respect that and kind of take it seriously. So no snow out there this afternoon. There's lots of sunshine, but we are still talking about winter weather and those winter weather concerns. We have something called a cold weather warning, or a cold weather advisory, excuse me. This cold weather advisory does go through tomorrow at 12. So the concern is for what we were just talking about, wind chills at or below 0. Wind chills, single digits to 5 below. So bottom line, that's the concern for tonight. What about the rest of the week? We want to know about that. Well, me too. Let's get to it. Your weather pattern looks like this for the next couple of days. So overnight tonight, we have the really cold stuff. That's obvious. There will be almost a series of cold fronts that moves through over the course of the week. And what that will do is it kind of allows us to repeatedly replenish our cold air. When you bring cold air into the south, it can be hard to get rid of, but we're going to replenish the cold air. One thing we'll start to watch going into the weekend will be, is there the potential of another winter weather event? We're not sure yet. Some models are showing that potential of some snow Saturday into Sunday. I can't say it's wrong, but I also can't say it's right. At this point, it's just something to keep an eye on and something for us to watch. So we'll watch it. We don't want to get too high or low on it, and we'll certainly keep you posted. We thank you for keeping it up to speed with us on WFMY+.